All right. So you guys should be seeing my screen now. Um, so the goal that we have in mind, and I know each of you will have a slightly different objective depending on your business and so on. But, at a high level, our goal is to help you get the system set up so that as much as possible, all the outreach is automated and you're able to log on, look at a dashboard like this, kind of see what's going on in the business, and then quickly know which customers do I need to be getting in touch with today, or which customers do I need to do something for today, right? Um, for and that'll of course depend a lot on the type of business that you're in. Um, so to do that with SalesNexus, what's unique about our solution is that it's designed to be customized for your business. So in every business, doesn't matter what industry you're in, there's probably a handful of different solutions that have been designed for that industry, right? And the idea is you log on and everything you need to be in that business is right there and ready to go, right? And those are great solutions. What I find in general is they are useful if you really don't have a lot of process yet in your business. With SalesNexus, our goal is to help you get beyond that to where now you've got processes that are unique to your business. And if you think about it, a lot of times those are the things that really are your competitive advantage, the things you do different from your competitors, right? And so with SalesNexus, we're going to help you build the CRM and all of your marketing automation around the unique way that you do business. And so that starts with laying out this customer screen so that what you need to know about your customers is right here and everything else is out of the way. And you don't have to jump through 3 screens to figure out what's going on with this customer, right? So you can see here, this is my demo database. I do all kinds of crazy stuff with it. So it's just sort of a hodgepodge right now, but I can go in and let's say that I'm in a mortgage business, right? So I'm going to customize what appears on that screen just by getting rid of all this stuff that I had added in a previous meeting. And I'm going to go down here and add a couple of mortgage related fields. So I want to know the amount of the loan and the status of it and the type of loan that we're dealing with, right? And I'll show you in a minute. We can create all the fields we want, but now you see how that works, right? When I'm looking at a customer, I can see, what kind of loans do they do business in, right? If this is a mortgage broker that I'm dealing with, what's the status of the loan that they have submitted? How much is it for, And also, anytime I change these fields, that can trigger some new process automatically. I don't have to go separately turn on, my loan approved marketing campaign or whatever, right? I just click right here and boom, the SalesNexus is making sure the right messages go out and people on your team are getting tasked to do their part of the job, right? Mm-hmm. So you do that on the left side, and then over here on the right, you can do it. You can have multiple pages, and you can see I kind of in my demo database here, I just have different tabs for different types of businesses. So if I'm in some kind of investment business, these are things you might want to keep track of. If I'm, again, going back to mortgage, here's more detailed information you might want to track. So the idea being over here on the left is the basic stuff I got to know about everybody, right? Kind of those qualification questions you have to ask every customer. And then over here on the right might be the more detailed stuff that you need to collect about a customer once they start to engage with you. They're getting beyond the lead stage and they're becoming a client. But you can organize this however you want. And like I mentioned, if you need to create new fields, you go up here to settings, organize and customize, and you go here and say add new field, and you just give it a name. So let's see. I'm going to do number of agents, just because I was talking to somebody earlier that does AI agents, which is cool. And here you can see, you can do, you can make it a currency field or a date field, and it's going to have a little calendar pop up, and, all the different things you would want to do. But I'm going to leave it a character field, and I'm going to say, make that a drop down, and I'll save it. And then we'll put in the drop down items, and you could kind of create little buckets to organize your customers, right? So you could say less than 10. And the next bucket would be 10 to 20. And then 21 to 50. And then more than 50. So if I'm in a business where, maybe I sell some kind of customer support software or sales support software or something, where every agent on your team is going to be a customer for me, right? When I fill out that you have more than 50 agents, then ding, 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 that's big opportunity for me, right? So I want to automate some process, right? So what I'll do is, let's go back to the customer record, and we'll put that field on the screen. So I'm going to go find that number of agents field that we just created. Here we go. There we go. And I'll put it at the top so we can find it easily. And there we go. So I can point and click and fill that out. And the idea is, I'm a sales rep. I come in the morning, I go to my task list. There's who I need to call today, right? And the SalesNexus is telling you that, rather than you having to go through your notes from yesterday to figure out who needs a follow-up call or whatever, right? And you just click into Adam there. He's somebody that filled out a form on your website, and boom, he came into SalesNexus. And I click, dial the phone. I got my phone in one hand, I got my mouse in the other. I'm on the phone with Adam, and I know, first of all, I know what I need to ask him, right? Because I see the fields that aren't filled out yet, right? And so I asked him how many agents he has. More than 50. Ding, ding, ding. Now the right hot prospect sequence is triggered, right? And I can check off what loan types he's interested in. And then that's all I got to do with Adam. I'm done. I just hit next, and I go to Bob. He's the next guy on that task list we started with, right? And I just do it again, right? Click, dial the phone. Maybe with Bob, when we're done, I tell him, okay, I'm going to send you an email that has our application or whatever, right? So I go here to email template, and I select a pre-designed template, and I can attach a document to it or whatever. I hit send email, and out the email goes to Bob, and we go back to his record, and then we hit next and do it again, right? So the idea is, you're running a business. The real world is, you've got a million things you're trying to do every day. You've got that limited window of time every day. It might be 30 minutes, might be an hour, hopefully more. But, sometimes it's not much. And you got to get in there and be able to hammer out those calls and make sure you're reaching out to customers and keeping your funnel working for you, filling that pipeline without getting distracted, without getting lost, without wasting motion, right? And that's our goal with SalesNexus. So just to kind of go back, the way we do that is you customize the fields in the system, lay them out on the screen, and then we'll create campaigns and automations to automate everything besides the actual talking to customer part.
Greg, is there a maximum amount of customized fields that you can add?
No, no. You can have as
None.
many as you want, hundreds if you want.
Okay.
Uh,
And the layout, is it always like one column like that, like just in like one row? Can you like make like two columns versus one column?
well, it's a left-hand side and a right-hand side. And the left-hand side is always the same. And the
Yep.
right-hand side, you can switch like I'm doing here. Does that make sense?
Right. But you can't add like additional columns on that left side, like to do two
No,
columns there. Okay.
no.
Okay.
Um,
Can you protect fields so that
yep,
only certain people can fill them out?
yep. You go back right where we were, customize the field, click on the field, and you see right here, edit field write permissions and edit field read permissions. So you can separately control. Somebody may be able to see it,
Yep.
but they can't change it.
Change it. Perfect.
And related to that, you can also set up what we call security groups. So if you have sort of a regional hierarchy, right?
Yeah.
Your sales rep in California can only see his contacts, his accounts, but his manager can see everything in California, right?
Right. Hmm.
And then the VP of sales can see everything across the whole nation, right?
Right. Yep. Okay.
Um, Anybody else have any other questions?
Craig, I
Okay.
have a question.
Oh, yes.
The CRM, do you guys have like a built-in dialer in here?
A built-in what?
A built-in dialer.
No, it connects to whatever phone you have on your system.
Mm-hmm.
So, as an example, anytime you see a phone number in the system, you see the little call link. So that's going to call whatever phone system you've installed on your computer. So you can install like a Ring Central or a Go2 Connect or a Vonage, those kind of things, and it'll just dial it for you. On a Mac, you can even make it dial your cell phone,
Mm-hmm.
your iPhone.
So you've done connections with Ring Central before?
Yes, ma'am. We're integrated with Ring Central. Yep.
Perfect.
How about with Cloud Talk?
I don't know that one specifically, but if it's not to get too technical, but these phone number links are what's called a tel link. So if it can be set to be the default phone system that your computer recognizes, then it'll work. Okay, so now let's look real quick at the campaign part of things. So you go up here to campaigns, email templates, and here's where you're going to create your emails. And you can see here, we have all these pre-designed templates that you can start with. I'm just going to check or grab this text one to keep it simple. And I give it a name. And now it's going to open that up for me in our editor. And the editor's super easy to use, very robust. So here I have a text block that's already in here. If I just want to, keep it text only, then I can just click in here and start typing new text, right? You can mail merge in your field. So you see the little merge tags on the toolbar.
Mm-hmm.
I can say, okay, I want to get that, loan amount field in there, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that puts in the code for that custom field. So any of your custom fields, you can mail merge right into your templates. So thank you for applying for your $500,000 loan or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
So another thing that's important to know if you're managing a team, you notice this mail merge field has this little con here, and then these ones down here have the my. The cool thing about that is you can mail merge in the information about your sales rep as well. So you create one template, which your whole team uses, but when Hazel's customers get emails, the emails come from Hazel and they have Hazel's phone number. When Kim's customers get emails, they come from Kim and they have Kim's phone number, and it just happens automatically.
So again, Craig, can you protect your templates so that, like, if I didn't want my salespeople to be able to change the information within a template, can I do that as well?
Yeah, when you're creating users, and setting up those security groups, that's where you would control who has the right to both use templates and campaigns, and secondly, create them or edit them. Let's see. And then, so if I want to add more to this template, more, design elements, I click over here on content and I can drag the image block over here and it creates a new block for me. And now I'll insert an image that I've already uploaded, or I can upload a new one. So just insert that one and I can resize it over here, and link that text by link the image so that if somebody clicks on it, it takes them to a page on my website. Just put that link right here. If you want to get real fancy, you can see you can add different style of rows, so I might want to put one down here where I'm going to put, an image in here and some text in here, right? So a lot you can do with the editor. A couple of things that everybody will want to know about as you start to actually create your own templates. Number one, when you're done, you want to save it, of course. The system is auto saving, and you can use these little undo buttons to go back if you add something in and you're like, oh no, that messed it up. You just hit back. But then over here under actions, you want to do the preview, because this lets you just look at what's it going to look like when my customers look at it. And you notice up here, you have this mobile option. You definitely want to take a look at that. That tells you what's it going to look like on an iPhone or an Android. And, the thing you need to know is at least 50% of your customers will open your emails on a mobile device. So you want to make sure it looks good there. Also under actions, send test. That just means, let me just send it to myself. So you put in your personal email address and hit send, and off it goes into your inbox. So you can see what it's going to look like when they actually receive it in their email program, right? And then save as template. That's just save a copy. So maybe I've got a nice looking template I like here, and now I want to kind of cookie cutter it and create 3 more that look just the same but with slightly different text. Just save as template to create the next one and make your changes. So now we've got our email. Now we're going to go up here to start campaign with this template, and we give it our subject line, and a campaign name, and hit next. And now we're in the campaign builder. And if you're just wanting to send one email out to a list of people, then we're done. All we got to do is save this here, save and begin campaign, and we were on to the next step where we're adding contacts to it. But while we're here, this is where we can also create a drip campaign, right? So maybe I don't want to just send them one email. I want to send them another email 3 days later. So I'm going to put 3 here, and I'll put in a new subject line, and I choose another template, and I hit save, and now we have a 2-step drip. And so you see the idea. I could keep going and add 100 steps to this. I can make it a text message next. So maybe I email them twice, and then on the 5th day, I'm going to send them a text. So I put in the 5, and I go here now, and I can put in my mail merge fields in my text messages, put in a link, whatever. Mail merge in my info again, right? So that, again, you can have a text message campaign that works for all of your sales reps. So now I've got a text message in there, and maybe the last thing I want to do is call them. So basically what we're doing here is we're letting the automation do the work for us. But if they don't respond to any of that, then we're just going to pick up the phone and call them, right? And so we just put in what that's about, and we'll put that on the 7th day. And so there we go. I'll save that so we can play around with it in a minute. One other thing I'll mention real quick, this may or may not matter to any of you guys, but you can use webhooks as a part of these campaigns. So if you need to, at some point in this sequence, send data about this customer over to another system, you can do that with these webhooks. So that can be kind of cool to play around with. So now we've got our campaign. We just say save and begin campaign. And here we'll choose, maybe we want to start it Monday morning at 8 o'clock. And right here, we can choose who we're going to send it to. We have some different options. We'll come back to this in a minute, but you'll have saved lists. Like, so you might have all your clients or all your prospects or whatever, right? Or just everybody. And you see it's telling me how many people I'm sending it to. And then if I say begin campaign, it's going to give me one last chance to second guess myself. Otherwise, I say yes, and we're done. It's set it and forget it. I could go on vacation for the next week, and all those emails and text messages are going out. All I got to know is a week from now, when I come in and look at my task list, I'm going to see all the calls, right? Because that was that last step in that sequence. Any questions about that piece of things? Okay, we'll keep going. The other thing that's really powerful about the system is that, again, using those custom fields that we looked at in the beginning, we can create really unique lists. So I want to, to me, people that are, doing loans of more than $250,000 and I'm sitting here thinking to myself, I'm probably not going to get anything back because I don't have a lot of this kind of data in this little demo database, but let's try it. You get the idea, some specific target audience for you, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm not getting anything back. But okay, there we go. There's 124 came back. So that's cool, right? And I can save that if that's something I'm going to use a lot, right? So I'll just call it large loans in process. So I've saved that.
This is like a lookup, but it's like creating a report almost, correct?
Yeah, that's right. So the important thing is, number one, you can see you can do a very detailed query, 8 different fields you can use as part of your criteria. You can even add sales fields and task fields as a part of the query. Okay. And then I saved it so I don't have to remember what the criteria are next time I need to use it. But also, now life starts getting really simple because I go to contacts and I say view all contacts, and I can just sit here and go, okay, here's all my clients, right? And here's all my large loans in process, right? And now from here, I can do whatever I want with this list. I could start calling them, right? So right in this view, I don't even have to drill into a customer. If I just want to update Arnaud and mark off that, he just made a donation, boom, I'm done, right? So you can kind of use it in spreadsheet mode, if you will. And then I can add this list to a campaign. I just click this little button here, add to campaign. And now we're back in that scheduling window we saw earlier. Let me see if I can remember. Yeah, it doesn't matter. So here's a similar campaign, right? So I'm going to schedule that to go out right now for those 124 people that are my large loans in process, right? One thing I'll point out, anybody that is managing a team, you're going to love this. You notice right here under user. So by default, when I'm sending out a campaign, the system's going to send it from you. You're the user, right? But I could say, you know what? I want these emails to come from Mary, right? So I can designate a specific person, or I can go here and say contacts record manager. The record manager is a field that we use to designate kind of who's the salesperson, who's the owner of each contact, right? So what this is saying is schedule it for these 124 people and automatically figure out who the emails are going to be from based on who their sales rep is. And same thing for the call that's scheduled. They'll, Dawn will get some calls for her accounts, and Betty will get some calls for her accounts, and so on and so on. Does that make sense? Anybody have any questions about that?
No, it makes sense.
Yeah, well, I actually just have a question regarding call tracking. So how do you track those calls? Number of calls, person that they were able to speak with, stuff like that.
Right. Yeah. So you'll have, or you'll want to create your own dashboards or graphs, reports, basically, that track that in just the way you want to. But you can see here's an example, right? Calls by rep this week, right? So for Dawn and Jerry and Jane and Carrie and Mary, I can see how many calls they made. And I don't know if that's very big on you guys' screens, but how many of them resulted in a hot opportunity versus a prospect, appointment set, not interested, and all this stuff you can customize. You may want to use different terminology to sort of organize those call outcomes, right? But that's the important detail. So if I want to go in here and change that, right? I just go into my management dashboard and I'm going to do my calls by rep graph. And here's where I can make change to the criteria, right? So maybe I want to make it, instead of this week, it's this month or today or yesterday or something like that. Or maybe I want to filter it and say, only include people that, are loan in process, right? And you save that and it changes the graph. And while we're looking at that, another really important factor when you've got more than just yourself using the system is right here, push dashboard to users. So I've created this graph and I really want my regional sales managers to be looking at the same thing, right? So I'm going to go here and say Dawn and Jane and Jerry and push, and that pushes that graph onto those people's dashboard. So now they're seeing the same thing I see, right? We're all keeping our eyes on the same numbers. Let's see. And while we're on that topic, actually, you can do the same thing with the layouts of the fields. When you've created those fields and you laid out that screen the way you want, you go here to organize and customize, apply my layouts. And here I can say that auto insurance and customer financial layout that I created, I want to make sure Dawn and Joe and Kathy see that on when they log in. And I hit apply layouts and boom, now it shows up for them. Any questions about the dashboard reporting part of things?
If you're on the dashboard where you saw the graphs, can you click on, like, say, one of the sales reps and get the detailed information of who they did call?
Yeah, that's a great question. And let me show you that. So I just click details, and now you're going to get a little table, right? So I click on Dawn, and there's the people she called.
Okay, perfect.
Right.
Yep.
And one thing I forgot to point out earlier, all these different list views that I keep getting into,
yeah,
you can customize the columns that you're seeing here. Same thing. You can, based on your custom fields. Let's see, we got a call status field and a call result field, so I want to have that in my view so I can see what those outcomes were when I'm looking at it in the list view as well.
Perfect.
And of course you can filter by it, sort on it and all that. Let's see. Something else that everybody needs to know about is our contact enrichment. So here I've got a list of contacts, but I don't have a lot of information about them, right? I got an email and a phone number and a name, and that's it. I don't know what company they work for or any of that stuff, right? So if I hit this little up button, it's going to enrich those contacts for me. So you can see it found 5 of them, and then it comes back and it shows me all the information it pulled in, their addresses. So the way that works, to be clear, is we're matching on the email address. So even if you only have an email, you don't have any phone numbers or names or anything, the system will come back and fill all that in for you. It's not going to match every email in the world. It's a B2B database primarily. So an easy way to think about it is if they're on LinkedIn, then we got their data. It's a little broader than that, but that's close.
So what about like when you have duplicates there? Like if you look at that in the middle, that DeVore,
right?
The duplicate. Can you make that into one so you don't have multiple prospects?
Yeah, that's a good catch. Here in my demo database, I've made a mess of it. but yeah, you can. Like I'll show you. I could come in here and you can see I got a lot of example at email.com, right? But I go here to edit list, and I can go in here and say, these 3 people or these 3 records are all the same person, right? And I say merge contacts, and it's going to merge all those into one. The other thing, while we're on that screen, that's really powerful is, let's say, remember we talked about that record manager field, which is how we keep track of who owns all the contacts, right? So maybe this list of people, remember that was the people Dawn had called, right? Well, maybe I want to assign these to someone else. So I go here to record manager and I choose Jill and I hit update. And now all those 103 people are being updated so that the record manager is Jill now. Or I can do that with any field. So if, just in terms of data administration, you're trying to update a record or a list of contacts with some certain value in a field, that's real easy to do. Let's see. And then related to that, when you're importing lists, so you can import a CSV or an Excel file. And let me see if I can. That's not going to be a good example. Sorry, guys, but I've got so many files. I can't find the one I always use for this, but let me just scan through here and find it. Actually, I know the name of it. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so I'm uploading a CSV file. And now what the system does is it's going to recognize all the column headings in your file. And then over here on the right, it's going to try and match that to a field in your database, including your custom fields. And you can see some of them it found, some of them it did not. So I can come in here and, update those manually. And then here, by default, it's going to duplicate check based on email address. So if there's somebody's already in there, that email's already in there, it won't create a new record. You can change that if you want. And then, I would come down here and hit next and load that file in. But the thing I wanted to show you guys is that also you can click here and say, update my existing contacts with the new information in the sheet. So this is really powerful, and it gets used by customers in all kinds of cool ways. But a simple example would be like if you're getting a report out of your accounting system that shows, the monthly sales for all your customers, right? So those customers are already in the CRM. You don't want to create new records for those customers from that sheet. You just come in here and you go match on the email address, or maybe match on their account number. And then, you pick the field that is the, let's see, where's the revenue field? Yeah, here, right? So I map that and I just check right here. And what that's saying is essentially ignore all the data in this file, but except match on the email address. And when you find a match, update that revenue field with the information in the sheet, right?
Nice.
So that can be really powerful as well.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let me pause there. What
Craig,
question do you guys have?
I have a question when it comes to imports. Does the CRM detect duplicate leads?
Duplicate leads. Well, just like we talked about, it depends on how they're coming in.
Yeah.
When you're loading in a file, that you would duplicate check here by checking off the boxes here. When you say a lead, I'm assuming what you mean is somebody coming to your website, for instance, and filling out a form. Is that what you mean?
So basically what we do with our team is that we're on the medical field and we're doing imports of the healthcare agencies in, let's say, Phoenix, Arizona, right? If ever that there's another bunch of leads that I need to import, will the system detect that, hey, this second lead is already in the system, and it will just automatically reject or disregard it?
Yeah, that's right. That's exactly what this does, right? When you're loading that file in, you would just check off that if the email address is already in the system, then ignore that one.
Yeah. Okay. And then I have a follow-up question, not related when it comes to imports. Earlier, when you were doing the test call in the lead page, is there a way that the CRM does its own recording, or it will be based on the dialer that's connected here?
Its own. Well, yeah. Let me go back to a customer record and try to show you that. So I'm on Arno here, right?
Yeah.
And when I click and dial the phone, right, doesn't matter what phone system I'm hooked up to, what's going to actually happen is this little dialog box pops up. So I can log what happens in the call, right? So it was a cold call, and these are some notes about the call, right? Or I could log that I just left a message or whatever, right? What was the outcome? And I can either just log it or save with the follow-up, right? So I want to maybe call them again on Tuesday. So I'm going to put that on my calendar for Tuesday. And so that just logged that call was made today. See that right there?
But there's no like voice recording where we can go back and
No.
listen to what happened. Okay.
No, that would be part of your phone system.
Just in the phone system. Got it. How about automation? does the CRM perform automation?
Yeah. So that's the part we haven't looked at yet.
Okay.
Let me jump into that. So let's see. Let's go. Remember, earlier we created that number of agents field, right? So I'm on Arnaud. I'm talking to him on the phone, and he tells me he's got 75 agents, right? So wow, that's a great big opportunity for me. So I'm going to go over here and say automation plans. And right here, I have my hot opportunity automation plan, right? And there we go. So you can see, based on these field criteria, trigger this campaign, right? So maybe we want to change that and make it based on that number of agents field. When the number of agents is more than 50, then we want to trigger this hot prospect campaign, right? So point is, you can create your own criteria based on your fields and to trigger your campaigns for the appropriate circumstance, right? And, as you saw when I was looking at when I first came here, you can have as many automation plans as you need. So
can you do an automation based on an opportunity versus a contact?
Yeah. Yep. So let's go back to that. See here, you got contact fields and sales fields.
Okay.
So it could be, if the broker's name is a certain thing, or the amount is, greater than $250,000 or whatever, right?
And you can add multiple fields there as well?
Yeah, same thing. Yeah.
Just keep adding. All right. Is there a max on that?
That's a good question. I don't know if anybody's ever maxed it out. Off the top of my head, I don't know what it is.
I might be the first, Craig.
Well, we'll find out together.
Okay.
But yeah, that's a good point. And the other thing I should touch on real quickly is you can connect SalesNexus to your website so that those people that come to your site and fill out a form go right in.
Right.
And so I'll go up here to settings, integrations, and website. So the way we do this is different. And so we don't have a form builder where you design the form yourself in SalesNexus. What you'll do is you use whatever forms on your website. And then our system's just going to give you a little JavaScript tag that you put into the form so that when they hit submit, it goes into the CRM, right? And here you choose the fields in SalesNexus that you want that data to go into, right?
Perfect.
So kind of like we just looked at, you got your contact fields here, but then you also got your sales opportunity fields, right?
Okay. Now, what if that contact is already in the system? Will it automatically still create it, or can you just have it maybe notify the salesperson that they have to call them?
Yeah, there's some different options here. You can see the second step is you map the fields that you've chosen to the name of the field in the form on your web page. But over here, you can see you can check off which ones, have to be unique. In other words, it's duplicate checking, right?
Okay. Yep.
Or which ones are required. Don't add a new lead if they haven't filled these things out, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you have a lot of options there. And then based on that data that comes in, you have an automation that triggers the right follow-up.
Okay.
Anybody have any questions about that? Let's see. The other thing that you will probably want to play around with is go up here to settings and email. There's actually two things I'll show you while we're here. Set up DKIM. That's where you link your domain to SalesNexus so that you can send your emails from, your name at yourcompany.com instead of, a generic email or a free email like Gmail or whatever. There's a little help article here that'll walk you through it. Basically, you copy this little code and you paste it into your DNS settings on your website. But that is important. It's in the last year or two, it's become really important to make sure that you get into the inbox. And then you have what we call email capture settings. So here you connect directly to your Gmail account or your Outlook account. And what it will do is it'll bring in your Outlook contacts, for instance, but also your emails that you're exchanging. So, and archive them with the customer record so that when you go to that customer next week, all the emails that you exchange with them the old-fashioned way in Outlook will be attached to their record. You can even open them up there. The attachments will be there. It's a super powerful tool. The only thing that's tricky about this is in Outlook's case, for instance, if you're in a company situation where you're not the administrator of your, Office 365 account or whatever, you're going to have to get your IT guys to authorize it. There's a little step in here that if you click here, you see this grant admin approval. You have to have your IT guy do that. Try and set that up. That's it's kind of one of those things. Once you see it, it's an aha moment. Like, oh wow, where in a team, sales rep leaves, right? You've got all these leads that sales rep has been working with, right? And now they just came in and told you they're leaving, right? Well, I need to take Jerry's leads and assign them to someone else, right? Like we looked at earlier, I can click in, I go to edit list, I change the record manager, and I change it to Jane, right? Okay, great. Now Jane's got those accounts and she's starting to call them and all of that, but it's going to happen, right? She's going to get on the phone with somebody and they're going to go, yeah, I sent Jerry all that info last week, right? And Jane wasn't copied on any of that stuff. And now everything grinds to a halt, right? Well, now if you have that email archival that we call it the email capture, that's turned on. Now because Jane can see Jerry's old accounts, she can also see all those emails that Jerry was exchanging with that customer. So it's really powerful in a team environment like that. And also customer support sometimes needs to jump in and help out with something and they need to see the emails that your sales team was exchanging or whatever. Let's see.
Craig, can we set up an automated reminder, for example?
Sure. You mean call somebody once a month or something like that?
Yeah. Does it how does it work? I mean, when you set up a reminder, does it send us an email? Where can we find all of those, or how can we be notified?
Yeah. So in SalesNexus, you will schedule your reminders here. They can be scheduled by the campaigns like we've looked at, right? Or you can just do it one at a time by clicking here when you're on a customer. And, so I can set myself a reminder to give them a call at the end of the month or whatever. And here you can set up recurring options and all of that, if you want it to be once a month or once a week or whatever, right? And also you can sync the SalesNexus tasks or calendar with your Outlook or Google Calendar. So, if you're used to using Outlook as, your calendar, then everything you're doing in SalesNexus starts showing up in Outlook, right? Or you just go into tasks and task list, and that's where you see all the calls and reminders and to-dos and things like that in SalesNexus. Something I forgot to point out earlier, that if you're in a, sort of an outbound selling situation, is really, really powerful. You see here, this click notification. So what that is when these customers are on these automated drip campaigns, right? What SalesNexus will do, obviously we track the opens and clicks, and you can see reports on your campaigns and how they performed, right? Just like you would expect. But what this does is in real time, your sales reps can get alerts saying, Matt just clicked on your email. He's on your website right now. You should probably call him, right? So that can be really great in a situation where you're doing cold outreach. You got a list of people that you're trying to get on the phone. That's a great way to do it. If you can make that call within an hour or two of them clicking, you're still on their mind. But also it can be really powerful for, past customers, right? So maybe Matt's somebody I talked to a year ago, and he didn't purchase for whatever reason, but I put him on a little auto drip, and for some reason today he clicked on that email. Wow. I just click in, hit call. Hey, I noticed you were taking a look at that email. I can see what he clicked on and everything. So that's a great way to reach out to a much larger list of people via email, and then have your sales team focused on the people that are already raising their hand and showing some interest.
So Craig, you said like that task would automatically go to whoever is assigned that contact.
That's right.
Can you have it so that they get the task in SalesNexus, but they also get an email? I know some of my managers will want that, so I'm just curious if that
there's
available.
There's kind of two different parts of that, I guess. It just depends on exactly what you need. But for instance, let me go back to the campaigns, because I don't think I pointed this out, and this may make it a little clearer. I'm going to open the campaign, and you see here's where I would turn on that option. I want to get a notification when they click, right?
Okay.
But here I have email click notification. That means don't just give me a task in SalesNexus. Send me an email, and when you get that email, it'll have the customer's name, their phone number, and a description of the email that they clicked on. So you can just right there on your phone, just click the phone number and dial them, and you know why you're calling them.
Now, you've gone over a lot of contact and like leads information and automations that we can do on that end. But I would also be using like opportunities for like loans that come in. So say I create a certain field that says we're ordering title, and my closer fills it in, but I want the team to be notified. Can you do automations within the opportunities as well if a field is changed?
Yeah. Just remember, like we looked at in the automation plans, that trigger can be a sales field, right?
Yeah.
And then when I'm talking to John here, and I'm going to open up a sales opportunity, right? And same thing, you can customize all of those fields, right? So, he's going to buy 10 of these at $10 a pop and blah, 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 right? Over here on the right, once I get the basic numbers in, now I have all these other fields I can fill out, right? And all of that can be triggering some automation, right?
Okay.
And in both cases, on the contacts and the sales, doesn't matter, that could be coming in from some integration as well, right? You might have SalesNexus tied to like an LOS or your accounting system or your shopping cart or whatever the case may be.
Okay. I noticed that little chat on the bottom. What is that?
Oh yeah. So, oh God, I'm so glad you asked that because I almost forgot. We're about to run out of time, but the really important detail. If you need help, SalesNexus wants to help. So don't be shy about asking. There's no limit on how many times you can open up a ticket or ask for help or call us or whatever. And you're not going to have to wait around. You'll find that if you look at our reviews online, you'll see as many people talking about our support as you do the product itself. But to answer your question, you click down here to chat, and that's going to open up our knowledge base. So if you're trying to do your first automation, you type that in, and there's a knowledge base article that's got a video that's going to show you everything you need to know about how to do that, right? Nice. And you can say contact us, and right here you can open a ticket on our support desk.
Oh, nice.
Or you can just email support@salesnexus.com. And also, if you go to our website and click on help, here we've got the whole application broken down into a whole bunch of short little 3 to 5 minute videos. So there's a lot of on-demand help there. But if you need help, ask for it and you'll get it. And also, we'll be doing this again next week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So Monday and Wednesday at 3 p.m. Eastern, and then Friday at noon again, noon Eastern. So you guys are welcome to join that as often as you want. We also have dedicated training packages and things if anybody needs a session just for your team or you're really getting into your unique business processes, that's available as well. Okay, I'm going to have to jump in a minute, but anybody have any remaining questions?
Yes. Hi, Craig. Can I just pop one little question?
Yes, sir.
I'm Dan, calling from Romania. How can I use Gmail as multiple senders, as I have in my Gmail set up multiple send as emails? Can I use them in SalesNexus for sending emails, or
yeah,
I'm
you can.
restricted?
So if you can, you want to set up DKIM, right? Are you familiar with that?
Okay. Yes, of course.
Okay. So you go up here to settings, email, and then over here on the right, you do set up DKIM. So that's where you get that process started. And then when you've done it for the first domain, you can come back here and do it for a second domain. And you need to let our support team know, because they have to do a little trick on the back end so that you can do more than one domain. So just send an email to support@salesnexus.com and they'll take care of it by the next morning.
That's great.
But also, just to be clear for you, if you go here to settings, go to the main menu here and go to my record. This email address, this is your record in the system, your contact for your user account, right?
Yes.
This is the email that will be used as the from for all of your emails. So if I want to change that, I just hit edit and I can change it, to my other Gmail address or whatever, right?
Okay, but I cannot switch them on the fly when I'm sending emails. In my case scenario, I'm juggling with more than one company, aka service, or let's say business, and I'm sending from various email addresses, but are all under my name.
Right. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to create a separate user for each email.
For each persona I represent. Okay.
That's right. And then in your campaigns, you can designate which user that each email will come from.
Understood. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Craig.
Sure. thanks everybody for your time. And
Thank
like
you.
I said, reach out to us if we can help with anything. And hope everybody has a great weekend.